Hello and welcome back to Live from Paris. It's time now for our daily look at the world of the arts in our culture section. And Wednesdays are film days here on France 24, and we'll be discussing 3 new movies, from the latest in the James Bond franchise to the 1979 Iranian hostage crisis via a French auteur film as well. Now, I'm joined today by, what was it again? Tell me.
It's Leffler, Rebecca Leffler. I'm actually here for a birthday party today. James Bond is celebrating his 50th birthday, and he is definitely aging gracefully. He's just as sexy and smart and debonair as he always was, despite all those years. And the 23rd Bond film, Skyfall, is going to be coming out in France on Friday and then rolling out all over the world in the coming days. Very exciting.
Okay, now we have all been awaiting this film for a long time, since 2008, I think, was the last Bond film. So you've seen it. How is it? What do you think?
Well, we have been waiting a long time, 4 years. It's a long time, but I can promise it's definitely worth the wait. It's one of the best Bond films, I think, in decades. And I, of course, haven't been around for all of them. But it's really just a great mix of what we expect from a Bond film, all the classic Bond-esque traditions. But it's really embracing the future, and it deals with terrorism and internet hacking. And it's probably the film that's the most closely connected to real-world concerns, especially in this post-9/11 world that we're living in. And director Sam Mendes, people really weren't sure whether this, drama director would do a good job with a Hollywood action movie, and he really succeeds. The lensing is gorgeous. It's beautiful cinematography. There's all the action that we want, in an action movie. There's running and fighting and chasing and shooting, and of course, as you can see, Daniel Craig's beautiful abs. But it's also the witty banter and the self-effacing humor that we love in Bond. And what's interesting about this film is we really get to see James Bond, the man, through a different perspective. We really go back and talk about his past, and it's a little bit emotional. And Judi Dench's character M, really, it's very more emotional than usual.
Yeah, so you mentioned M there. Tell us a bit more about who else is in this film aside from Daniel Craig.
Well, it's really an all-star cast. It's Albert Finney, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Whishaw, Naomi Harris, and also, of course, Javier Bardem, who really is absolutely perfect as the villain in this movie. He's sexy and scary at the same time, and he really just looks like he's having a lot of fun in the role, which is pretty refreshing. And we also meet the latest Bond girl, who is Bérénice Marlowe, and she plays the sexy seductress Séverine. But the film really belongs to, well, let's see.
I've been waiting to see who would redeem the chip. You made such a bold entrance into a little drama.
Did I overcomplicate the plot?
Who doesn't appreciate the occasional twist, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Well, that really does whet the appetite a bit, doesn't it? I can't wait to see the rest of it. Tell us a bit more then about what makes Bond Bond. Tell us some more information about this screen spy.
Probably speak for 50 hours or 50 days about the last 50 years of Bond, but I will save that because there will be a Bond special on France 24's Culture Show with Eve Jackson on November 2nd, so I'll let Eve take care of that. But basically, Bond made his big entry onto the big screen in 1962 with Dr. No, and it was made for $1 million, which compared to Skyfall, which was a budget of over $150 million. 50 years later, the series is one of the longest running in history, and it sold over $4.9 billion in ticket sales over 22 films. So it's really a product. It's really an industry. And what's amazing about this series is that even though Bond has changed face, literally there have been 6 different actors playing him, he's managed to stay true to character, from Sean Connery to George Lazenby to Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and Pierce Brosnan, before our Bond du jour, of course, Daniel Craig. And while Bond is the man, Bond wouldn't be Bond without his Bond girls, the original Ursula Andress, and also Jane Seymour, Denise Richards, and Halle Berry, and now, of course, Bérénice Marlowe. And what would a Bond film be without the love of Bond's life, namely his old Aston Martin that also makes a cameo in the film. And music has also been a really big part of the Bond franchise. We've had Duran Duran, Sheryl Crow, Madonna. They're among the major vocal talents who have created theme songs for the film. And this time it's Adele, Grammy-winning Adele, who co-wrote and performed the theme song to Skyfall. And this is not only one of the better theme songs of the year, which I think will probably be nominated for an Oscar, but it's definitely one of the best opening credits. I think it's one of the best opening credits I've ever seen in film, and you know, the song we've been hearing everywhere, "Let the Sky Fall." I mean,
it's very catchy, but I might have to interrupt you. I'm sure you could go on for a long time. Yes. But so that's James Bond out on Friday, as you said. We're all looking forward to that. Another film coming out here in France in early November. Move us on to that. That's starring Ben Affleck.
Yes, it's Ben Affleck, who's also behind the camera. So, you know, we always think of Ben Affleck, the actor, but he's actually made a couple of films, Gone Baby Gone and The Town, which have all received very good reviews, and this is his third movie, and he also stars in the movie. And what's amazing about Argo is that it's actually based on a true story about a movie used as a cover to help 6 Americans escape during the Iranian hostage crisis in 1979. And it's a spy thriller, a historical drama, and a dark Hollywood comedy all in one, which really speaks to Ben Affleck's prowess as a director, because it's not always easy to cross genre, and he really does a great job with this. And the film also stars Alan Arkin, John Goodman, Bryan Cranston. It's another all-star cast. And the film is really a gamble for Affleck, because he's really out of his comfort zone here, and you know, he's flirting with politics, which, as we know, can sometimes be a little bit dangerous in Hollywood, but he manages to succeed. The film already has opened to rave reviews in the US, and it'll open elsewhere and in France next week. And here's what he had to say about it.
You know, I wanted to not be pigeonholed as the guy who does crime movies in Boston. Not there's anything wrong with it. I like those movies, but I want to be able to tell other stories as well. And so, you know, I found this story to tell, and I was really, really moved by the script itself. I thought it was amazing.
So, as you can see, Ben Affleck has really managed to make this seamless transition from actor to director, which isn't always easy. And another actress who now is a director is Sandrine Bonnaire, the French actress who we've seen, you know, in more than 50 movies in her career. And she directed a documentary, a very personal story about her autistic sister in 2007 called Her Name is Sabine, and J'enrage de son absence, or Maddened by His Absence. It opens in Cannes, and it comes out in France very soon. And this is Bonnaire's first fictional feature, and it stars William Hurt and Alexandre Lamy.
It's interesting that William Hurt then in a French film.
Right, you wouldn't expect, you know, William Hurt to be starring in a French movie, but actually he has fathered a child with the director, and he's very comfortable. He met Sandrine Bonnaire in 1991 when they were filming a movie together, and he speaks perfect French. I mean, this is a very, very impressive role for him. You know, it's an understated performance, but in any language, but the fact that he's also speaking French is really extraordinary, and it's an unexpected role. And something else that's unexpected is Alexandre Lamy, who you might know more as Madame Jean Dujardin, but this is really one of her big dramatic roles, and I think this will really be a breakout performance for her. And it follows this couple who they've lost a child many years ago, and William Hurt's character comes back to France after the death of his father, and it's just about grief and dealing with the loss of a child. And it's really, you know, sort of the anti-Bond movie of the week, a French auteur film, but it's definitely one that's worth seeing.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Rebecca Leffler, for that preview of 3 very different and very exciting films to come. Well, that's it from us for now. Many thanks for joining us, and do stay tuned. There'll be more headlines right after the international weather next here on France 24.